I think it's just a really family-friendly sport. It's low impact, you're not going very fast, but if you want to push the sport and progress, there's definitely an opportunity to be able to do that. Everyone loves being on the water, everyone loves going on the lake, so I think it's a perfect combination.
You're listening to the Radcast, a top 25 worldwide business podcast. If it's radical, we cover it. Here's your host, Ryan Alford.
Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to the latest edition of the Radcast. We're bringing the pain today. Let me tell you, we talk about being radical. It's radical if we cover it. We're talking to one of the top 5 in the world wake surfers, Parker Payne. What's up, brother?
How's it going? Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. Dude, you got the perfect name. You know, it's just a cool name. The double P, the alliteration, and, I don't know. That needs to be I'm going to let you have that as a freebie. When they introduce you at any of your contests or different stuff, bring in the pain.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dropping the pain. I don't care how nice it is and how nice you are. But, damn, man, top 5 wake surfer. You know, you've been doing it for 10 years, right?
Professional for 10 years.
Yeah.
There's definitely been years before that where I was not currently a pro, but at 14, that's when I turned pro, and it's been a grind from here on out.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a really growing sport. I mean, at the end of the day, we talked, pre-episode, I'm on my lake all the time, on my houseboat, chilling, cruising, and every other boat that goes by. I feel like everybody's trying it. Why has it gotten so popular?
I think it's just a really family-friendly sport. It's low impact. You're not going very fast, but if you want to push the sport and progress, there's definitely an opportunity to be able to do that. Everyone loves being on the water. Everyone loves going on the lake, so I think it's a perfect combination.
Isn't it just more accessible? Because when you think about riding behind the boat, it's intimidating because of the speed and the rope factor, right? Being pulled, and it's hard. But I feel like wake surfing, at least at the basic level, is a little bit more accessible. I think a lot of people that can't get up, maybe skiing or wakeboarding, it's a little less intimidating maybe once they see or they get up. Is that part of it?
Absolutely. And I taught my grandfather how to wake surf. So if I taught my grandfather how to, I think that anyone can really learn to get behind the boat and go. I
got to admit, though, I've fought the urge. I have not done it. So even though I've watched the videos and I'm telling you, you guys are going to go watch Parker. You're going to be listening and you're going to go watch Parker on Instagram, and then you're going to be hooked, at least on the vortex of watching the tricks and how mad and how bad he is on the water. But I've fought the urge. I have a feeling now I'm forced. I have a top 5 in the world wake surfer. I'm going to have to get out there and do it.
I think we're going to have to get out there and teach you how to.
Oh, okay. I'm going to hold this to it. I'm going to make Parker's going to come up. We're going to get him to, we'll have a phase 2 of the Radcast. We're going to get him up out on the water on Lake Kiwi.
Yep.
All right, are you committing to this?
Let's do it.
I get the professional lesson for Parker Payne. I think that'll be legit as it is, and some good content for both of us.
Absolutely.
If nothing else. Talk to me. You've been doing it 10 years. Let's give everybody a little bit of the life story. What got you started into it, the journey of being a pro, and just the overall growth of the sport.
Of course. So to rewind all the way, my parents were collegiate water skiers back in college. We had always had a boat growing up. I tubed, I wakeboarded, I skied. Wake surfing, in the earlier 2000s was starting to gain popularity. And being a young kid wanting to try every single board sport on the water, I knew that wake surfing was something that interested me. I found a natural talent, and I, managed to find my way learning new tricks really fast and progressing. And in 2013, I started competing. I had an undefeated year as an amateur, went to semi-pro the next year, and halfway through they kicked me out, and I went immediately straight to pro. And from there, it's been 10 years of professional wake surfing, and I've enjoyed every minute of it and gone to travel around, meet awesome people, and it's been cool to live my dream.
Speaking of bringing the pain, they kick you out of the amateurs.
Yeah.
It's not I'm hearing dude, you're too good. I'm politely, I can hear him talking to your parents. We're gonna have to get you out of the league. He's making all the other little kids feel bad.
Well,
Was that how that discussion went?
Mama Payne at that time was, oh my gosh, she's only, 14 years old at the time. So it was definitely scary for her and for me as well. Being thrown into that life at such a young age was not something I was even ready for, but something that I had to do.
You're still a young guy. I mean, at 24, but I sense a maturity about you. Have you always had that in you, or has it just come with time and being a pro for 10 years?
Maybe a little bit of both. I've heard some people say I'm an old soul, but I think definitely having the experience of being around, especially being within the business world at such a young age, it's allowed me to have a different perspective on how that whole thing works.
All of this success and all these things you've been doing has happened as social media has exploded. Like it's obviously been around for, we're almost at 20 years now on some level. We'll throw out MySpace, but probably before your time. But, Facebook's been around. There's been these things. But I'd say the explosion of social media has happened through it. How's that guided, your career or just the awareness of the sport?
It's definitely changed everything, not just within wake surfing, but any other, individual sport that you can do. Social media gives you the platform to tell your story. Having the ability to post my videos, show off sponsors, and promote my own personal brand has allowed me to really elevate in my career. And I think without it, I would not be where I am today and sitting in this chair to be able to have this conversation.
Is it, social media is interesting. It paints a certain picture. It tells one side of the story. Have you seen the positive and the negative sides of it? I mean, have you experienced any of the hate, or any of the, obviously you're a badass, on the water. And so there's not much to hate on. I'm sure someone figures it out, but have you experienced both the positives and the negatives?
Absolutely. There's always up and downs. And as they say, a hitter's going to hate, but I think that they wish they were on the water too. So at the end of the day, I'll take that as a win.
Yeah. At the worst, what's the worst they could say to you? You're on the water, making a living and doing what you love. And that's what's so amazing, about what the internet has opened up is the ability for people, no matter what it is, obviously you're making a living, but your ability to spread that word and spread it and, to bring a business along with it, which we'll talk about shortly. But that's the thing that I think not everyone, believe it or not, has embraced is the ability that you can make a living through social media.
Absolutely. It would blow your mind on how far you can really take it.
Talk to me about the business of the sport. Like you witnessed it in your 10 years, being young at 14 through 24, but just the growth of the sport and how it just continues to expand and, the number of sponsors and the number of things. Like, what's the most eye-opening thing for you about just how big the sport's getting? Social
media has given it so much popularity and really allowed people to see an inside look of how the sport operates. I think for myself, a key part that has really allowed me to succeed, and there's 3 elements, is personal brand, your talent/skill, and the partners that you work with. I think those 3 things are what really makes the total package to allow you to excel. Having social media to help push your personal brand and have the partners and sponsors go hand in hand with that is, I think, what really helps generate dollars and generates the impressions online.
Talk to me, and we talked about this pre-episode, starting out in the sport, it was all about competing in the competitions. So maybe explain a little bit of that for everybody listening. Like, how does someone make a living? How did they do it? And maybe how you're doing it now as a wake surfer.
Yeah. Competitions will always be the root of wake surfing. That's where everyone gets together and has a good time. It's almost like a family reunion every time you get to go to these events. When it comes to turning that into a career, wake surfing in the competitive space is your starting point. Social media allows you to showcase, your abilities within competitions, and that's how brands start to find you. Once you have, completed let's say, certain amount of competition wins, that's when really you start to get a lot of interest. And then now you can not necessarily shift away from competitions, but more pick up the side of social media to allow you to grow your personal brand.
Has ultimately, these brands just want to sell more of their stuff to, as the sport grows, their business grows. So they bring on someone like you, top 5 in the world, because ultimately, if I'm selling boards or boats or ropes and everything involved with it, the point is, the more eyeballs that see you using that, the more influence there is on people purchasing, correct?
Yes.
And what is the transition from, okay, I'm sponsoring, and I'm sure you've gone through this thought process, you've got your own board and things like that, but from helping a brand sell more things versus selling more of your own, have you gone through that kind of process or thought?
Absolutely. There's definitely a certain angle that you have to take on it when it comes to promoting that product on social media. Obviously, you can't have something stick out and look like it's a direct ad, but I think having an endorsement and, seeing people that if I ride this board, or if I wear this life jacket, maybe I can be as good as them, or maybe I can do that trick that I've been trying to get on that particular board. That's where it starts to look less like an ad and more just like me telling you, hey, this is something that you should try. And I think that's what gets a lot more sales rather than a brand directly trying to promote that straight to their end user.
Yeah. But are you crossing that line of where, we should have Parker Payne manufactured ropes versus X brand ropes?
It goes half and half. I think
Yeah.
having the personal brand with a well-known brand, I think they go hand in hand together. I've seen it go both ways, and individuals go out and make their own brands, but sometimes having the backing of those bigger brands allows both people to succeed.
Yeah, because I think of the skateboarding. I grew up on the skateboarding scene, and it was all about, had Lance Mountain and you had Powell Peralta, who makes like all the skateboard stuff, but then they had the individual name boards under that, which that's kind of similar to yours. You got the Phantom Phase 5 wake surfboard, so that's you, right?
The Phase 5 Phantom, that's the winner. That's my board.
What distinguishes one board from another?
Well, unlike skateboarding, oftentimes you see skateboard decks are very similar in shape. Wake surfboards, just like ocean boards, can be all kinds of shapes, sizes, varieties, even styles. We have surf style boards and we have skim style boards. Skim style being, your typical kind of beach skim board, very flat, very slick. Then you have your surf style board, which is the Phantom board that I produce, which is modeled after a small ocean surfboard. Very aggressive, big fins. Having both of those styles kind of allows you to try both things, try different tricks, but both of them allow you to excel your skills in wake surfing.
But and we talked about this, but wake surfing is kind of like this combination of skateboarding and traditional surfing, right?
It is.
And, so talk about what's the evolution. So from beginner to pro, what are the distinguishments? Like, if I'm just learning, is it all just about staying up? Like, I'm just trying to keep like the gravity upright. Like, what distinguishes the true amateur to what are the stages of like growth on the board?
Of course. Well, usually your first victory is letting go of the rope and staying within the wave. I think if you can surf, you're already better than most. The next thing that you're going to try to strive for is a 360, and that is the classic wake surf trick. Everyone wants to be able to do the 360. Everyone goes out that summer and they're like, this is the summer that I'm going to get it. You can skip, let's skip down a couple of tricks and get all the way to kickflips or, 900 shove-its or things like that. It can get very technical, very quick. But once you start to get those more high-end tricks, they kind of all come together and start to become something more achievable.
And if you want to learn from me directly, join my newsletter, ryanalford.com/newsletter. Sign up. I give daily advice on marketing, personal branding, podcasting, life. Give that a shout. Join that. It's free. It's daily. Just like this show, give away our best advice.
What guides it for you? Like, the thinking through like the next thing. And then let's talk a little bit about the trick that you're the only one in the world that has pulled off. But what guides kind of the creative flow of, attaching tricks to tricks?
Of course. looking online definitely gives me a lot of influence. When it comes to my process of trying to learn that trick or try to find something that I'm ready to do next, I'll go out and try it, but I shoot videos of it and I go home and I study those videos. Being able to go back in slow motion and see each individual thing that you've done really allows you to go back the next day and, see what, achieve what you're looking for. I don't have a coach, so I don't really have anyone to kind of help me with my basic strategy. It's all on me, so I would say, self-taught in what I've achieved so far. And having those skills and the utilities to be able to help bring them to life is essential.
What's the trick that you can do that no one else can?
The kickflip.
Okay.
The surf style kickflip. I was
Surf
the first
style.
to do it.
First to do it? Only one to do it? At
Only
least.
one to do it.
Does anyone claim it, but they don't have a video of it?
There's some rumors here and there, but as of right now, I'm the first person to do a kickflip on a wakesurf board behind the boat.
Yeah. What? Why is it so hard?
I think it's the first trick in wake surfing to where you're looking at the bottom of your board while you're in the air. Generally, we're doing a lot of spin tricks, a lot of tricks where you kind of just spin the board underneath your feet. But this is the very first one where halfway through the air, I'm looking at the fins on the bottom of my board. And trying to get over that hurdle and learn that trick was one of the hardest things I did in my entire life.
When was the first time you completed it?
The first time I completed it was earlier this summer. It took me 10 years of trial and error to be able to do this trick. And I finally landed it on the 94th attempt of that morning.
We were watching that video earlier, and I saw you, like the look on your face, and then hearing the story of the 94th time, I'm just sitting here going, the stamina, to not only stick with it, but knowing you did it, and then I don't know, I was surprised you had the energy to pull it off.
It was definitely a big feat that morning. It was probably about 3.5 hours in the water.
Holy shit!
It was a total mental roller coaster of the up and downs of being, I'm so close and now I'm so far away. And
but are you doing it regularly now?
I've hit 3 in total so far.
Okay.
I haven't had much time to really go out and practice a lot to try to get it dialed. But just recently I found that one little key factor that I think is going to be my ticket to getting it consistent for next season.
Is this like just a mental check or something? Or is it physical, like a physical motion?
It's physical.
Oh, so you could teach it and sell it for money.
Yep.
I can see this happening. How to do the kickflip.
Kickflip course coming soon. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, but is that what it really comes down to? Like, as far as the monetary side, like, my mind kind of gets wrapped around, obviously, the influencer stuff and promoting products and stuff, but teaching and all that. Have you gone down that route yet? Like online teaching?
Teaching is huge. I'm thankful I have a lot of clients that fly me all over the world to teach them how to wake surf. I have a client that's, in their 70s right now, and they fly me out a couple times every summer. I definitely do some online coaching as well. I have friends that have created online courses of how to do wake surf tricks, and even like I have a friend that did like a la carte program where you can pick each individual trick you want to learn how to do. So if you already know one, you don't have to pay for it. So there's definitely been a very large influx of online, pay per knowledge type of, programs out there. But for me, I love being in person to teach you how to do it. So when we have a chance to get on the water, I'd way rather be there on the back of the boat telling you how to do it than text you a video of this is how I do it, or, type something out. So
Yes. I'm much more in person. I don't think I could learn without in person.
Yeah.
For sure. But when you think about your own personal brand, Parker, talking with Parker Payne, one of the top, we're just gonna call him best in the world, since he can do a trick no one else can. One of the best in the world wake surfers. In studio, I might add. We had to do it in studio, in person, which I appreciate, Parker.
Yeah.
You think about your personal brand. I mean, are you thinking about it from that media standpoint, like building that library, like doing things? I mean, like, what's going through your mind as you're planning out the Parker Payne, personal brand?
Personal brand and social media are huge. I'm always thinking of what's the next video, what's the next crazy trick that I can do that'll break the internet. Because as soon as I have a video that goes wild and I have my, my board there, my life jacket there, those are all, sales, and it creates brand awareness there as well. So the more views, the more sales, the more fun, it all goes hand in hand.
So is that really just kind of it now? Like, is it just how you think of amplification through the range of the tricks themselves? I mean, also, obviously that's going to drive it, but more people watch it, more people, the good things come.
Exactly.
So it's as simple as that for you now.
Yep.
Any other channels you're exploring? I mean, is YouTube a big channel for you?
No, usually short form content is where it's gone for us. I've tried YouTube in the past, and not to say that I wouldn't try again, but with the world that we're living in with TikTok and Instagram, Reels, things like that, people love that quick, immediate, oh my gosh video that I've got to share this to a friend or I got to show someone. That's where we start to see the virality that we're looking for. And that's, I think, the goal overall.
Do you think people appreciate the difficulty? Like, obviously, if anyone that's done it before goes, holy shit, this, I don't know how he just did that. Do people grasp the difficulty that maybe haven't tried it?
I think they do.
I did immediately. Like, I've just seen enough people going by them and like, they're not doing what Parker's doing, like,
Yeah.
But I do wonder if that goes over people's heads sometimes.
To use the kickflip as an example, I think that was probably the one where I didn't really get any videos of, oh, I can do that too, or I've done it before. That was the one where everyone was like, respect, like that's not something that's supposed to happen on the water. So that was the first one.
What's the craziest like DM or response you've gotten, like from people? Like, I imagine you get it from all over the, from girls to the guys, like, what is it, anything that stands out?
Well, I'll give a shout out to my friend Joel. Some may know him as Dead Mouse. He's big into wake surfing, the DJ.
Yeah.
And he saw my kickflip and he's immediately like, we got to get together. We got to wake surf. I've had some wild stuff over time, but
any celebrities or anyone else that's like,
here and there, but I'll leave it just at Joel. I don't want to name drop too many other ones.
Come on now.
Yeah.
But that's the thing though. Like we were talking about, like the number of celebrities, like the growth of the sport. Like Mark Wahlberg mentioned him. Like a lot of people are getting into this.
It's definitely become very popular. We're seeing many, social media influencers, celebrities. Everyone seems to be to getting out there on the water.
What's been like, the craziest place you've ever wake surfed, or best? I know you got like your tried and true places that you go with practice and all that, but maybe just experiential.
When it comes to like the experience, I love Turks and Caicos for wake surfing. That crazy blue water is something that you can't get anywhere else.
It's smooth enough?
It's smooth enough, yeah.
Yeah. So you're just the both of those but how about saltwater versus regular water? Is it that? I mean, once you're on the water, is it that much difference?
If you can find smooth water, it doesn't make much of a difference. Salt water does change the buoyancy of the board, so if you know really what you're looking for, you may find a small difference. But for most, you can go out and be in saltwater or freshwater and still have a great time.
What's your boat of choice?
And currently, right now, it really just depends on the day. I've got something in the works right now, and you'll definitely be hearing about that soon.
Oh, okay.
We're
not ready to release that on the Radcast.
We're maybe on the next one we can have something there. But yeah, I'm really excited for what's to come. There's a bunch of great boats out there that all make great waves. But I think here soon we're gonna have something really special.
Is there a specific boat brand that you do work with?
Currently in the works right now.
There we go. So everything's behind the secrets.
Yep.
What's on like the bucket list for you as far as like maybe where you surf, who you surf with? I mean, there are aspirations for those type things.
Yeah. It's always fun to get a chance to surf with celebrities and get to do that experience. I also love traveling as much as I can to go on those surf type of adventures. I love ocean surfing as well. Last week I was in El Salvador getting to surf with some friends, so it's fun to switch it up. But I think that I'm always looking forward to, I just love teaching people about the sport and introducing them to, the family life of being on the lake and being with your friends is something that I really love showing people and getting to, get to experience with them.
What's on the 2024 calendar for Parker Payne?
24 calendar is definitely stacking up a lot. Already at the start of February, we're we're going to be rocking and rolling, but I think I'm going to spend a lot of time in Turks and Caicos next year with a great friend of mine. And there's going to be a lot of opportunities that stem overseas as well. Dubai is huge for wake surfing as well. So I'd love to spend some time over there. Anywhere that I can go, I'll always say yes. Or even for a podcast like this, just to go and shake hands and meet new friends, I'm always willing to say yeah.
Yeah, it's smart to do that. Hey, you might start your own podcast. You know, we started a podcast network. You might can come under there.
Yeah, actually, me and a great friend of mine, we do it every now and then, but we do a podcast called The Last Pull. And it's every now and then, but we interview other wake surfers of like behind the scenes of not just their wake surfing, but also, you know, a similar conversation we're having of how do they run their personal brand? What does their training schedule look like? What does their personal life look like outside of that stuff?
Yeah, I mean, let's go down that path a little bit. Like, you know, the injuries, like people think of these sports, they may not think of it as like, I think what you see people, you know, there's athleticism involved in it, but the training regimen and or maybe some of the injuries you've experienced.
Yeah. With any sport, whenever you push it to its fullest potential, you will get hurt. Not if, you will. It's just the reality of it. In my days, I've definitely seen a lot of injuries. Personally, I fractured my spine, taken many blows to the head from boards. I mean, broken bones in my feet, you name it. I've probably had it happen. Being someone that has pushed it really far, it happens. We try to make our biggest, if we're trying a new trick that potentially has some risk, I always try to do it at the end of the year. So if I do hurt myself, I have the winter time to be able to heal up. But thankfully within wake surfing, it tends to be one of the safer sports. For anyone that's just getting into it, you're not really having to worry about, you know, general injuries. If someone steps on a skateboard, everyone has a risk of falling down and hitting the concrete. Whereas on a wake surfer, thankfully at 11 miles an hour, the water's not going to hurt you too bad.
Yeah. I think I've fallen off a few boats, you know, going a little faster than that.
Yep.
And then like in like wakeboarding, I mean, you know, you're pulling behind, you're going faster just by the nature of it. Yeah, the face plants tend to hurt a little bit more.
Oh yeah. I'm friends with a lot of those guys, and pretty much all of them are wearing double knee braces, and they're going to physical therapy 3 times a week. So I mean, that's a whole other side of injuries and extreme sports.
And what do you do to keep in shape? I mean, is it just I think we talked pre-episode. Cardio is one of the biggest things. And
yes, so I'm a runner. You know, wake surfers are generally tall and skinny, so I'm not trying to get as big as I can. Trying to keep my body weight low, so I'm more efficient on the board. But a proper diet is really what helps. You are what you eat, so eating great food will make you feel amazing.
Yeah. It's interesting, you know, talking to a guy like you that's doing what they love, you know, is doing a sport that's fun. What's fun for you that's not on the water?
Man, I mean, my passion is my hobby my job is also my, you know, hobby at the same time. Traveling is probably my biggest hobby outside of wake surfing. And obviously it does go hand in hand, but whenever I have opportunity to go somewhere, even if I'm not going to bring my wake surfboards, I love just to go into that town and experience wherever I'm going for a couple of days. And that's what I absolutely love to do.
Does it get old? Has it gotten old yet? Like if somebody like me going, you're going to teach you, let's go, let's get out there on the water. I mean, you know,
it all has its ups and downs, but generally I love just about every minute of it.
Yeah. I mean, what do you see yourself doing like 20 years from now? I mean, is it like,
I don't know, because if you were to ask me, if you were to ask me 5 years ago, where do you see yourself in 5 years? I would not have guessed that I would have been sitting right here doing what I'm doing now. You know, our environment is changing so much and so many new things are coming up here and there that it's really even hard for me to say, what am I going to do in 2 years? What am I going to do in 5 years? The best thing that I can say is I will try to capitalize on whatever comes at me. So if there is a new path or a new trick or a new sponsor that comes along that will both lead us to success, that's the train that I'm willing to hop on and go with.
When did you obviously went pro when you're 14. When did the light switch for you going, this is actually a business, this is a career? You know, like I sense that now from you, but clearly. But is there a certain, did you recognize that early on that like, I might do this forever? That
point came in 2018 when I signed with Phase 5 Wake Surfers. Together, we made the board the Phantom, which is the board I landed the kickflip on. Once we came out with that board and we started to see how the public reacted to it, that was the first time where I was like, wow, this is a lucrative industry to be in. It's also a very affluent industry, so there is definitely room for growth and for success within the sport. And as soon as I saw that we had products taking off and that other brands were starting to become interested, I knew that this was my time to double down and really go in on this, be full time.
So we're that puts you at roughly 19-ish, 18, 19, around that time.
I think I was 18 years old.
Yeah. I mean, it's mind-bending to me, thinking, about your age and like having a skill that's so rare at the level that you do and the ability to turn that into potentially, lifelong career is just awesome, and I mean, I hope you're embracing it.
Absolutely. Love every minute of it. I'm very thankful to be doing what I love and get to do it every day.
What do your parents feel about it? What's their pattern in all this?
They love it too. My dad is a serial entrepreneur. So he's kind of been my guiding, mentor within my younger years. They love it. I mean, like I said, they were water skiers in college. Every time I ask them to say, hey, come on the boat with me, they're always trying to make it. I love having them on the water with me. Whenever I can bring them with me to something, I'll always try to. They've definitely been a huge influence in my life, and the success that's come from it has definitely been stemming from them.
Any brothers or sisters?
Just me. So my parents get to deal with just this, but it's been a great time.
No, it's good, man. Hey, they were blessed. They got a great son that's doing big things and, blowing up the world and the internet, right?
Yeah.
Is TikTok or Instagram? Where's your what's the sweet spot?
I like Instagram. I've got a lot of friends that are on TikTok, but Instagram for me is a way to have a little bit more of a concentrated audience. That's always been my bread and butter is Instagram.
Were you always an athletic kid? Like, I mean, like for someone listening, it's like I'd like to get my kid in something like that. Is it just like, were you just always natural?
I was. I loved basketball and soccer growing up. I was not a football kid, being as tiny as I was at the time. But at the same time of doing basketball and football, I was also picking up skateboarding and snowboarding and just being, just starting being into ocean surfing. And as soon as wakesurfing came around, I knew that it was time to, hang everything else up on the rack and go in on this because I knew that that's what I loved.
Yeah. And what's interesting, like thinking about the breadth and the scope of the industry, back to the approachability of it, sometimes these sports and like, I think about the X Games and Winter Games, it's a young man's sport or young woman's sport, young person's sport. But this, it just, like you said, 70-year-old, like you could be 10 or you could be 70, right?
Yep.
That's an awesome, that's a wide open window.
I'm still considered to be one of the young guys within the industry. So I'm thankful that there's still plenty of time left for me to continue to expand my career, and that, oftentimes what happens with athletes is right when they start to get it figured out, they're kind of on the back nine of their career and they're getting a little old. Whereas I'm very thankful now that I've still got plenty of time left. Knock on wood, I'm still in great health. So I would love to have the years to come and continue to grow.
How old are most of your peers?
One of my top competitors right now is 34.
Okay.
So we have a 10-year gap.
Dude, you got 10 years to kick his ass.
Yeah.
It's still, oh, I love it, man. You have this really strong sense of like, you got it together, but there's humbleness. You're going to go far, man.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Ryan.
I really appreciate you coming.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. It's been an honor to be here.
Yeah. And I'm going to take you up on the phase 2 on the water.
Let's do it. I think that'd be a great video. We can absolutely make that happen.
It'll either be the blooper of the year or the greatest thing ever. I don't know. I'm fairly athletic. I think you can get me up.
You're going to be kickflip number 2.
I don't know. 6'5", 270. I think the buoyancy
You got it.
might be a little bit much. But where can everybody keep up with everything you're doing, brother?
Absolutely. You can find me on social media at Parker Payne Surf. That's my main platform. You'll find everything else from there. I'm always posting crazy videos and trying to get the next one there. So if you see me there, give me a follow.
There you go. Parker Payne Surf. Appreciate you, man. You know where to find us, theradcast.com. Search for Parker Payne. You'll find all the highlight clips from today, links to everything. Go get a new board, man. You know, you need a new one. You need whatever it is. Let's sell some boards for Parker. Hey, I'm at Ryan Alford on all the social media platforms. That blue check mark before you could buy it. We'll see you next time on the Radcast.
To listen or watch full episodes, visit us on the web at theradcast.com or follow us on social media at our Instagram account, the.rad.cast, or at Ryan Alford. Stay radical.